Season's greetings, armchair Imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here, live and in person, one night only, to present a very Disney Debates Christmas Carol, in which we take a life-changing journey through Disney's past, present, and future, via the following topics. Which attraction should you re-experience for the very first time? Most promising... Who is the most giving character of 2019 and most promising Disney film of next year? Without further delay, time to board the Disney Express and grab your complimentary hot chocolate as we...
Hot chocolate?
as we make our way along the Aurora Borealis to the arena. In this corner, when it comes to debates, he's a mean one. With all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, it's Jacob. Why-yo!
Nice.
It's a rather tight pinch, but if I can do it, so if the Grinch can do it, so can I.
And in the opposing corner, he's dreaming of a white Christmas and tap dancing with Danny effing K. It's Tiki!
Oh, I appreciate that intro, Dragon, but I have one request.
What would that be?
Can you introduce me as the Teakster?
No.
All right.
No.
Fair enough. Okay.
And, hey, and to my right, you better watch out. You better not cry, because it's my co-host, Sandy Claus.
Hi. That's
All right.
it.
How we doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
I'm absolutely ecstatic right now.
We've got some live viewers in some of them probably from WDW Magic.
Nice.
That I literally just re-entered that forum for the first time in like a few months, and I shared that we were doing this, so I think we're going to get some turnout in the comments here, guys. I'm excited about that.
That'd be great. Who's keeping an eye on the comments? Speaking of which,
That would be me.
I will once we go through all these. Anyways, Dragon, set up the rules, please.
yes.
All right, a little refresher on the rules in case anyone's just kind of joining us all fresh and nice-like. Okay, the way this is going to work, folks, simple breakdown. We have 3 main rounds, which we're going to reveal. We're going to go around our 2 players here. They're going to reveal what their pick is. Then they're going to give their opening statement in which they kind of make all the points they want to make in regards to like all the nice stuff, kind of setting the stage for what their pick's going to be, kind of what their argument is. Then it's a festive fight to the finish. Basically, they fight it out, and basically when you hear this sound from my other more prominent co-host to my left, R2, when R2 speaks, he's the bell, which leads to some deliberation by Sandy and then myself. End of 3 rounds, we get to our optional segment of our show, the coin, or for the seasons, the Christmas coin. Or the
Very
Christmas
straight to
coin
the
that
point.
time forgot, one could also say. Well, let's just call it the Christmas coin for simplicity's sake. Anyway, simple. So this is an optional segment. Basically, at the end of 3 rounds, I will offer both of our players the option to flip a coin. If it lands heads, that'd be nice, which means they get a point. Lands tails, not so lucky. One could say naughty, which means they lose a point. So it's going to be a little nice option or a naughty option, completely optional. Heads good, tails bad. You get the whole ball of wax there. So also, a little stocking stuffer here. I've hidden a second coin within a round, as in within one of the opening, let's say 5 rounds, as in a little bit. It could be in the speed round, could be in the main round. Hidden somewhere in our myriad of questions is a second coin, which will be revealed at the end of the round, whether it's going to be in that round or not. And of course, they'll be offered to the winner of said round. They'll be given the option. Hey, you want to flip for it again? Again, the risk being heads, point; tails, no point. And overall, it's first to 5 points wins. That's the main goal of the whole thing. First person to 5 points wins the whole game. They go home. Fa la la la. You get the idea.
Right.
So, gentlemen, do you understand these rules as I have explained them to you here this fine, jolly evening?
I do, ooh.
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's go to the randomizer. Of course, like Vegas
Ooh.
here, folks, we like to do it in kind of alphabetical order, complete randomness, kind of playing by Vegas rules. So, see, Jacob's in there first, followed by Tiki. Then we're going to randomize it and see who comes up first. Now we'll establish our order for the evening of who goes first and then who goes after that guy. All right.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so I'm up first.
Tiki's going first, followed by Jacob. Which is shocking because the randomizer hates Jacob and usually makes him go first.
Yeah.
I think he's been nicer to Jacob in the past year or so.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob's kissed and made up with the randomizer. It's always nice to see a holiday reunion. All right.
Oh God.
All right, let's kick this Festivus for the rest of us off right.
Oh, not this one. Sorry.
Round numero uno. Again, folks, the whole operative thing here, the whole festive thing here is we are we're taking a Christmas Carol approach to our rounds here, as in you have like a question in relation to the past, the present, and the future. So let's wind the clocks back and glimpse over our younger selves. Round one. Which Disney attraction should you re-experience for the very first time?
In forever.
Sure. So, Tiki, what do you got?
I've got the legendary Space Mountain, the iconic, the original e-ticket, Space Mountain.
All right, Jacob.
And I have Flight of Passage.
All right, so just again to go over it a specific, just for the folks out there, so they know exactly where we're coming at this one with here. So again, you're basically, folks, we're back in time. It's you have like the once in a lifetime experience. You get to go all the way back in time and go on an attraction for the very first time again. Like, which one should you go on should go on again for the very first time? That's the operative kind of thing we're aiming at here. Okay, gentlemen, deck the other guy's holes, bub. Go on. Sorry. Getting a little ahead of myself here. Sorry, the holiday season. We should go over some opening statements.
Someone's had a little eggnog.
Right.
All right. So Space Mountain. The thing I love about Space Mountain is how much of a mystery it is from the outside. From the outside, it's just this very basic geometric structure. You don't really know inside anything about it. You know, it's a roller coaster type ride through the dark. You know that there's going to be, it's kind of going to be a roller coaster type ride, but that's basically it. Like, you don't know how they're going to do it. You don't know how the effect of being in space is going to be pulled off. And I got to tell you guys, the first time I rounded that corner at the top of that second lift hill on Space Mountain and saw that giant dome filled with projected stars as far as the eye could see, it blew me away, and it's a moment that I'll never forget, even after waiting 2 hours in the hot Southern California sun. And my God, I still love Space Mountain to this day. I think it's one of the most cerebral Disney experiences. It's almost kind of like it's sort of the closest thing we have to adventure through inner space in terms of like, it relies much more on kind of like, sort of being in a headspace than just purely physical sets or projections, but sort of everything ties together with Space Mountain. The whole experience really ties together and is extremely memorable. But honestly, just, waiting in that 2-hour line, staring at that giant dome, wondering what was going to be inside, man, that's an experience you only get once. And if there was some way I could experience that again, to be able to just stand in line for Space Mountain and not know how they do anything at all, yeah, I would. That's my go-to right there, boy.
Okay.
Monkey, we're specifically, just for reference sake, we're specifically talking Disneyland Space Mountain because that is the one I experienced.
And to answer Pink Pearl's earlier question, which Christmas Carol? The answer is always Muppet Christmas Carol, Pink Pearl. It's always Muppet Christmas Carol.
Also, just for clarity's sake, in case you guys didn't basically what we're doing. These aren't traditionally Christmas questions, but like Dragon said, the past, present, future thing is kind of an homage to Christmas Carol. It's kind of our way to do sort of whatever the hell questions we want, but still have a Christmas Carol theme tying us through.
And I take credit for coming up with the idea.
Just
Just
throw it
kidding.
in there. Yeah.
Good idea.
Sorry.
All right.
But don't rest assured, folks, there will be some seasonal questions towards our speed round if you are rather eager to get to it. Okay, Jacob.
Okay, for my pick, I went with one of my all-time favorite experiences of all time here, the one and only Flight of Passage. Now, the Flight of Passage is an experience before you even get on the ride itself. Like you walk into the world Pandora, and you see the floating mountains. You know that, and you know that's where this new ride, the Flight of Passage is. It's like, wow, that they've already got it done already. Like, you're already immersed in everything before you even get into the main area of the ride and the attraction. Then you get in, then you go up the mountains, then you actually see inside. There's this huge facility. Like, the queue itself is worth experience. The queue itself is worth it. It's like a trip itself. Like, it's like you've stepped inside the world, which is exactly, and it's like you're already immersed and wowed before you even get in there. It's like, wow, that's like this is insane. Like, they really nailed it. It's like takes your breath away. Like, the entire thing takes your breath away, especially like sometimes. Then, even though the wait in the line can be pretty long at times, it's actually worth it just to see all the little details and things they put in there. And then like wow, if it's this good, I wonder how good the ride itself is going to be. And then the ride itself, yes, it's a projection ride. You're technically not moving up and down, but you actually feel like you're riding. Actually gives you the genuine feeling that you're riding the Banshee. Like, you feel it move, you feel it breathe. It's like it feels like you're riding a living, breathing creature, flying, soaring through the air. It's like it's an indescribable experience, unlike anything else Disney parks have ever made. It's one of the most immersive and breathtaking attractions they've ever made, from top to bottom, in terms of queue, in terms of the ride itself, everything. And going on it for the first time is an unforgettable experience.
Okay, time to grab the aluminum poles, gentlemen, because it's time for the feats of strength, as in fight it out.
All right, so this is really interesting because it's one of the original e-tickets going up against like one of the big flagship new e-tickets, probably the biggest attraction that Disney's ever done pre-Rise of the Resistance. So this is going to be a really interesting debate, and I just kind of want to, do the tap the gloves thing because I respect your choice entirely, Jacob. But you're wrong. So here's the thing. I feel like there's a number of things with Flight of Passage where I feel like almost by the time you get through the queue, like the ride itself is almost kind of like essentially like I kind of feel like the bad queue in Space Mountain almost builds the anticipation. And like I said, I'm talking about the Disneyland queue where you're literally just waiting in that long set of switchbacks on the roof in the Southern California sun. I'm saying for me, that is kind of like the equivalent of standing outside the movie theater for hours to get into a midnight screening back in the day. It's kind of an experience that we're never really going to have again. And so for me, just the excitement, like I would never do that for Space Mountain nowadays, single rider all the way, baby. But I would do that if I got the experience of just, I think the ambiguity plays a big role. I think Flight of Passage, for as good as the queue is a giant exposition dump.
Well, as far as the midnight premiere goes, my first experience of riding Flight of Passage actually was at night, so it kind of actually was a midnight premiere. So, and I think that since they're opening the parks at night more, that'll become more common. And I don't see how the queue being an exposition dump is necessarily a bad thing. Like, it gives doesn't necessarily tell you what the ride's gonna feel like. It's gonna tell you you're riding Banshees. That's about it. Like, it doesn't tell you like
It tells you that you're going to be linked into an avatar and riding Banshees in about 3 different Q videos, and I feel like that's at least one too many times that we're just exposited that same dialogue. And I get that it's kind of probably for crowd control purposes, you know, kind of like grouping off people. But I feel like Smuggler's Run does a better job of sort of like integrating you into the world of the ride, more so than just kind of like, okay, we're going to go into this room and watch a character. We're going to go into this room and watch a character. Smuggler's Run has those elements, but I feel like the transitions in Smuggler's Run work a lot better. But we're not talking about Smuggler's Run here. We're talking about Space Mountain. Here's the thing with Flight of Passage. Yes, the breathing and everything, the experience of riding the Banshee, that's cool. That's cool, definitely. But I don't think, basically, going into this attraction, everyone pretty much from the get-go knew that it was essentially going to be Soarin' on steroids. So we all kind of had...
And everyone going into Space Mountain knew it was going to be a roller coaster in the dark, as you said so yourself.
Right, but basically what I'm saying is, like, we had an idea of what the ride system was going to be like. There wasn't as much of a mystery to it. Whereas with Space Mountain, like I said, the mystery literally is a mystery box. It's just this big dome that you don't know what's inside. You don't know how the heck they can fit, you know, like whatever they're going to fit in there. You don't know what it is. You don't know how it's going to feel. You don't know how it's going to feel. You don't know what you're going to see. There's just so much anticipation and buildup just looking at those basic geometric shapes that have become an icon to Disney parks, an icon to the Southern California skyline. And I think that, to me, is more powerful than what Flight of Passage does, at least from a first ride perspective. I feel like with Flight of Passage, it is one of those things where I honestly feel like the attraction gets better as you re-ride it, just because you pick up on more and more details as you go along. And for a screen-based ride, I will give you that there is a lot to see and a lot to kind of take in with Flight of Passage.
All right, let's talk about the actual experience itself. Like, if you've ridden a roller coaster and like this Space Mountain isn't exactly as thrilling as it's always made out to be. Like, something like Flight is like, it's a roller coaster in the dark, and it's only going 30 miles per hour at most all the time. So it's something we've experienced before. Like, even if it's like the first time, you know what you're going to get. Flight of Passage, even though it's like all this stuff, yes, it's told in the queue, the experience is out of this world. Literally, like you're literally taken into the world. You feel it. You can feel everything. It's like the experience is breathtaking. Like with Space Mountain, like it's like where am I going to turn? Where am I going to turn? It's like that's about it. Like
no. With Space Mountain, there's a lot more to it than that. There's the sheer size of the room, the fact that you go into that dome and it's like, oh my God, we're going to go through all of this,
and the fact that it's dark.
No, Jacob, not just the fact that it's dark, the fact that there are like ACs just blasting in your face, giving you the feeling of hurling through space, and that's what gives the ride its speed factor. That's what makes the ride feel way more fast than it is. Also, like I said, the fact that there's all these thousands of stars being projected around you, and the stars themselves, as I said, it's kind of like it's almost sort of like a new interpretation of what Adventures Through Inner Space was trying to do with the projection effects. It's meant to be a much more cerebral experience. It's meant to stimulate the senses.
And that's exactly what Flight of Passage does. Like, I felt more thrills riding the Flight of Passage than I actually did Space Mountain. And Space Mountain, all you do in the Flight of Passage is basically you move up and down and up and all around. Yet I felt more immersed in that world than I actually did in Space Mountains.
Okay, but like I said, I feel like the argument here isn't immersiveness, Jacob. That's what I'm trying to get at. The argument here is first time. yes,
And
Flight of Passage is super immersive, but with Space Mountain, like I said, it is just literally this mystery box, this present just waiting to be unwrapped. After that first time, it loses repeatability, and I honestly think the fact that it loses repeatability is why that first time is so cherished for me, why I can never go back to that first time. And that to me is what makes that first time really special, and that's the heart of the question for me.
And remembering the first time, exactly what draws me back to Flight of Passage. The first time was so amazing, and when you go back, it's still amazing. Like, you see new things every time. Like, it's a ride that invites you back. Like, and I remember that. Like, you can do everything. You can look around, see new things, feel different. Like, if you go on a different ride, you feel something different. Like, that's the heart of the question to me. It's like, it's a ride. The first time, it invites you back. It invites you in, and then when you're done, it invites you back. And that's what got me going on it again, despite the wait. Like Space Mountain is something like it almost feels mandatory. It felt mandatory for me to do, like not like something I won. It's like it doesn't really feel inviting once again, but like it doesn't have the same warm, inviting feeling and lived-in feeling that Flight of Passage did.
All right, so essentially what I think the root of this question is, and what the judges need to figure out, is kind of like the old school charms and sort of like the mystery, like the kind of like we don't know what the heck we're getting ourselves into with Space Mountain, versus the sheer immersion and just kind of like, okay, we're going to take all this world in, we're going to take everything in, quality of Flight of Passage. And I think it's going to be a really interesting decision. All right.
Sans, feedback.
Wow, this is a really good round. I think you guys both had really strong arguments. I feel I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because I've never been on Jacob's ride. Jacob, what was the name of yours again? I know which one you're talking about. Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage, that's right. So I've never been on this ride before, so I feel I'm at a bit of a disadvantage there. But just based on arguments alone, I think I'd give it to Tiki just because he made a really good point of saying just how Space Mountain is just this mystery box and you don't know really what's inside there or what you're going to get. Accompanied with the fact that it's an older ride and the fact that it still really kind of wows people even to this day is really a powerful thing. So that's where I stand.
All right, I'm going to say. And by the way, Pink Pearl has kind of a thing right now, so she's got to get out of here. So Pink Pearl, thanks for joining us. Take care. Happy holidays. Anyway, all right, back to my deliberation. Sorry. All right, so I'll tell you guys, I think it was a good round, really well fought. I think it could have been anybody's round at a few points because I think you both had solid openers. Jacob. I think Jacob was making some excellent points in that you basically, of course, he really highlighted the immersiveness of Flight of Passage, how it is kind of like, it's a mind-blowing first experience. And of course, Tiki from the flip side of the whole mystery box component, as Sandy has also kind of pointed out there. But honestly, here's the thing kind of swayed me to. I think I know I'm leaning on this one. Tiki did make the kind of the exposition dump point, and I don't think all of that got him all the way there. But honestly, I think what I think saved Tiki's arguments. I think for a while Tiki was kind of waning there. Jacob said, essentially, it's kind of a standard ride. It's like, oh, am I going to turn this way? Am I going to turn that way? But but here's the thing, Tiki, he really did kind of stick. He steered it back to the root of the question with the whole you lose the repeatability. Basically, he took kind of the really gutsy move, like taking down his own ride, but having the fail safe, like knowing it feeds into the question, where he said, yeah, my ride loses that, kind of basically took Jacob's lobbing against, like, yeah, it's just, there's really not that much exciting about it. But again, that first time you go in there's something really to be said for it. And again, you don't know what you're going to get when you get into that first time, and it feeds in the whole, like, which ride do you go on for the very first time, where Jacob was kind of in defense of his, saying that I could go on the ride again and again and learn new things about it, which again kind of takes a little bit of the specialness out of that first visit out of there. Again, a solid argument Jacob made, but I think Tiki got in there like by a nose. So Tiki firmly got in there by a nose. So Tiki gets the first point.
All right. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, and well fought, Jacob. Well fought. I was really on the ropes with that one.
Yeah, good fight.
All right, so we have some comments here. Monkey says, my personal choice might be Flight of Passage, but I feel Tiki's winning the argument. Monkey also says, we're going into this room to watch a character. And D. Hindley giving some commentary here, saying screen-based rides like Flight of Passage have less repeat value for me than something physical like Space Mountain. I haven't done Flight of Passage at all yet, but I suspect it'll get older much faster. Which I think is a fair point.
Yeah.
And D. Hindley, he's saying my argument is better. Thank you, D. Hindley. Thank you. Also, just keep it up in the comments, guys. I love it. We've got an active comment section going. This is what I live for with this channel. Yeah. All right.
I want to remind you folks, especially when we get to the speed round, you guys could actually decide the rounds. When I turn it over to you guys, if you're still hanging around, especially, again, hence the speed round. Again, anything can happen in the speed round, folks. Stay tuned. All right. All right, let's get to round 2. So, guys, I'd like to take a moment to appreciate, kind of true blue holiday spirit at its core. It's at its core, it's generosity and giving. A true gift, or one could say a present. So, it brings us to round 2. Who is the most giving Disney movie character of 2019? Now, I want to say for the folks at home again, everything was on the table for these two to pick from. Everything was on the table for this one. Anything from a Disney movie that came out this year, as in Disney Plus, Pixar, mainline Disney live action, Marvel, the MCU, etc., etc. It's all on the table. So we'll make that perfectly clear. Guys, what do you got?
I didn't know you could choose from Marvel or anything else.
I tried to make that clear to you, Jacob. I'm sorry.
You just said Disney.
Well, when I say all Disney, I mean like Marvel and Star Wars. I'm sorry.
So what have we got here? We got Woody, and who's this?
Well, let
Noelle.
him say who's who.
I have Noelle from the Disney Plus original movie, Noelle.
Jacob?
I haven't seen that. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, if they're doing a good enough job describing it, I don't think it should be.
Okay.
And I think you judged the last round pretty fairly without having been on Flight of Passage, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay. All right.
And I have Woody from Toy Story.
All right.
Oh man,
So I think you mean
actually Toy Story 4. Yeah, D. Hindley actually has a really good one. Hulk, with one snap, he gave half the universe its life.
That's
God damn, man, D. Hindley, that is that is a powerhouse argument there. Oh man. Okay, so opening arguments, Dragon.
Yeah.
All right, so I realize that not many people have probably seen Noelle. I don't know how many people watching this right now have seen Noelle. It looks like Claude has, so that's good. I've got Claude on my side on this. So Noelle, I'm going to set the stage here, just really quick, give kind of an exposition dump in 60 seconds or less here. Noelle is the sister of the next in line to be Santa Claus in the Claus family, which is none other than America's favorite sweetheart, Bill Hader. But the thing about Noelle is that Noelle is very much more into the Santa thing than Bill Hader is. And she really wants to be the Santa. So here's what I love about this character and why I think she's just such a natural fit for it, is that giving is literally in her blood, guys. Giving is literally part of her DNA, right down to the core, man. And there are some really powerful scenes where Noelle just wants to give to people. And not just giving superficial gifts. I will illustrate a really powerful scene that the movie laid on in its third act, where earlier in the movie, Noelle meets a homeless woman in a shelter with a little girl, and the homeless woman has ambition. She wants to get out of her life. It's not her fault that she's in this position. She's just down on her luck, and she just needs a job. And that's actually the wish that the little girl tells Noelle, is that her Christmas wish is for her mom to get a job. What does Noelle do? She gives her a reference to a special needs school, and her daughter is deaf. So she gives the mother a reference to a special needs school to get her that job. And it's those acts of kindness, those profound acts of kindness that just go beyond just like, here's a gift, to like basically doing stuff that is changing people's lives, like connecting a father and his son closer together, bridging the gap between an ex-wife and the father to make the family dynamic more possible for the son's benefit. These are things that Noelle does. Also, she saves Christmas. That's what I'm saying. She saves Christmas. And I'm saying Noelle is just a very personal, in spite of the whole saving Christmas and literally being an heir of Santa Claus, I feel like really what makes her stand out in this category is just how profound her gifts really are and how life-changing they are. That's what really made me stand out. All right,
Jacob.
All right. And I have Woody from Toy Story. Do I have to limit it just to 4 or?
Well, I mean, obviously things factor into 4. I'm saying the focus on what he does in 4. But again, if you wanted to loop in kind of his arc overall, I mean, again, whatever plays into 4, Jacob.
All right. Sorry. Woody over the years, like, always had his ups and downs. I think he's always been one to think of others before himself. Like he's always like made sure everybody had a good home. Always like making sure like everybody was safe. Like always looking out for others. Sometimes, like, sure, he didn't start out that way, but and here he comes into 4. Like his entire arc culminates in Toy Story 4, which it's concluded this year. Woody, like, I mean, Woody's always been like one to help people in times of need. Like even if those people at first haven't exactly been on the best foot. Like he sacrificed him basically a literal part of himself to give somebody else a chance. And then said he gave Gabby his voice back so she could have a chance at life. And later on he actually encouraged her to go find this lost girl and not find her family. Basically, what Woody does at the end of the story is like he's basically left his old life behind, and now he's actually going to find toys homes, giving them a new leash on life, basically giving people a new chance at life, and basically, sure, it's kind of like a whole giving toys kind of gifts kind of thing, but it's giving these people happiness. Like he's basically giving people happiness, both toys and their owners, a new way to live.
All right, kick the figgy pudding out of each other. Go on, write it out.
Okay, this is interesting because I feel like we both have very similar arguments for, like it's not just the, the traditional gifts, like the material things. It's more the actions that they do. So you know what I'm going to do, Jacob?
Yes.
I'm going to go based on stats, motherfucker! All right. Verbal smackdown right here.
Wow.
Noelle is literally the daughter of the actual Santa Claus, all right? She delivered presents all over the world. If it weren't for Noelle, there would be no Christmas. The world would go down in flames. Everyone would be heartbroken. People would act like jerks to each other. And humanity on a whole would just find one more reason to hate each other. And Noelle stops that. Noelle saves that. God damn, Noelle is the reason why we have world peace in 2020. What is Woody doing? Really, what is Woody doing? He's going around in a disgusting, like, skunk mobile and liberating toys, and he's pulling, I don't know.
He's giving happiness to children.
He's given happiness to children. Well, you know what? So is Noelle on a much grander scale, and Noelle can go all over the world. All right.
And sometimes it's the smaller acts of kindness that that are grander in the grand scheme of things. Like
which
maybe,
Noel also has in spades. That's like the movie focuses on those small acts of kindness, and yet on top of that, Jacob, on top of that, she's got the material going on, my friend. She's got the bling. She brings the goods. She's the best of both worlds, man. She's the Hannah Montana of gift givers.
Wow.
beyond those limited things, though, it's not really shown what else she does. Like for many, like her few acts in Albuquerque or wherever that place was, didn't really amount to much in the grand scheme of things. And like I said, yeah, she becomes Santa Claus, giving presents. Like I said, that's not going to exactly amount to much in the grand scheme of things.
She gave a mother and her daughter a new lease on life by giving her that job. That is not nothing, my friend. She, like, basically, here's the thing. Every single person she encounters, she makes better just by proxy of who she is, who she's wired to be, what her personality is like. And I'm sorry, but that's not necessarily the case with Woody. Woody, he's great, but you know, I feel like at the end of the day, this is something I've kind of joked about in the past, but like, is Buzz gonna be okay? You know, Bonnie's gonna be okay, but Buzz is Woody's best friend, and Woody just left him. Like, I don't know, like maybe at least offer for Buzz to go along with him.
But I think Buzz understands it's best for Woody. I don't think Buzz really isn't a factor in this situation. So bring it. Is Noelle's tech cousin gonna be okay?
We don't love Noelle's tech cousin the way that we love Buzz, though.
Well, he's not relevant either, so neither is Buzz.
And Bill Hader's gonna be fine because he's got the yoga.
Yeah, and that's all Bill Hader does is do yoga.
Yeah, I won't argue with that. That was kind of a disappointing element of the movie. But you know what? Monkey is saying that one of Noelle's arcs was realizing it's not just material presence.
And Woody's realizing that a home can be anywhere, and he's helping people find those homes.
But Noelle gives the gifts, and Noelle spreads the world peace, and god damn it, you can't beat that, Jacob. Statistically, you can't beat that, my friend.
Statistically, Woody has had like many years of helping people, finding things, finding new leases on life, giving homes like, look, man, Sunnyside, and now this.
Jacob, you're a Jigglypuff in Smash Bros. Fighting Falco. You can't win this.
I've actually beaten Falco as Jigglypuff, so.
I take it we're not talking about Edie Falco.
No, we're not. But Jacob, like I said, in most giving, she gives the material gifts. She is like throughout the year with every person. Her life revolves around giving. Her life revolves around Christmas.
Woody's life has been revolving around like giving precious childhood memories, both to his friends and to his people who has owned him, like to Andy, to Bonnie, and now
Noelle brings the bling, my friend.
And Woody.
Okay, fair enough. Sandy.
It's like our shortest argument ever.
Sandy, hit me.
What a strange round. This is kind of difficult because now this is the most sympathetic Disney character, right, for this year?
No, giving, Sandy.
Giving, okay. All right.
No, generous and giving. That's kind of like generous in parentheses, giving being the operative.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, looking back on Toy Story 4, Woody did give his voice box. He didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to give much else than that, though. I think I'm gonna have to go with Noelle just because of the entire argument he made. I mean, Christmas is all about giving and everything. It sounds like this character really embodies all of what that's all about. I'm sorry, that's incredibly vague. That's an incredibly vague answer. I'm sorry, Dragon, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Noel for this round.
This is an interesting one.
By all means, make up your own mind here.
Well, this is an interesting one because, again, two very solid picks and two very solid arguments in this one. Seriously, I'm not just blowing smoke here. It's two very compelling points we have here. Fought very differently, mind you, but two very solid, solid points here. We're honestly, well, here's the thing. I think Jacob was arguing a lot of, like, the small acts of kindness. He cited a great example with the voice box and helping Gabby, and he cited very much new stuff, as did Tiki with the actions of Noel, and of course the helping the mother with the deaf daughter, and basically kind of more charitable acts, and just kind of the interaction, the kind of more interaction based kind of examples from Noel. And honestly, I was looking over here because it's really hard because I was basically looking at the audience here. I'm seeing some leanings towards Noel. I am. Basically, the observation from Claude Coringa here, Noel is related to frickin' Santa Claus. Which, yes, in relation to Santa Claus, yeah, that is a big gimme. It is. However, I gotta tell you though, I'm torn because Jacob did lay out he's been doing this for years. Again, he's literally bringing happiness and kindness. Tiki kind of made a point for Jacob where he said while he was trying to put down the skunk travel, he did make the point of he's liberating toys. I mean, that's pretty generous.
Yeah, you're actually very right. Because Woody has been giving for a lot longer than you're right.
And the liberating toys point, I think, worked against Tiki in his favor. I think Tiki lingered. I think he lingered a little too much in the bling aspect of it. He's giving the bling, man, the bling. Hannah Montana. I think Tiki was frothing at the mouth a little bit this round. I think he ran a little bit out of gas towards the end there. I think he was getting a little repetitive towards the end. I'm going to give the point to Jacob.
Oh,
okay.
Statistics, motherfucker.
The reason I went all WWE is after Jacob's opening round, I was like, fuck, there's no way I can win with just the acts of kindness, because Woody's got me beat on acts of kindness. I need to double down on the bling.
Statistics, motherfucker.
I mean, Woody literally gave a piece of himself to somebody else.
I know, right? Okay.
All right.
Fair fight. Okay.
All right, round 3. So, folks, it's time.
The funny thing is, because I was thinking, how can I go up against the daughter of Santa Claus?
Again, it's a very even fight. Honestly, I'm surprised. I was thinking Tony Stark would have been a contender for this one, given his what he gave at the end of that movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would have gone with that, but I didn't. I thought it was Disney only.
All right.
I mean, it's not your fault, you guys. I guess I should have anticipated that.
Yeah.
Okay, round 3. It's time to take a glimpse into the future of events yet to come.
Oh boy.
That may be. The question is, that may be, or will it be? Which brings us to round 3. What is the most promising Disney film of next year, aka 2020? Again, yet like the previous round, all is on the table, as in everything was offered, everything was on the table, as in Disney, which it's a little skimpy on the Disney side of things. There's Disney, there's Pixar, there's the MCU. It was all included here in regards to what to pick from. Okay. Tiki, what do you got?
I've got the upcoming Pete Docter directed movie Soul.
Soul
Sister. And I have Onward.
Okay.
Pixar v. Pixar. Colette Coringa, is Raya and the Last Dragon coming out next year? Because I wasn't sure about that.
Yes, it is. It's coming out. It's coming out pretty much the same time frame as Frozen did this year. I mean, other than the basic plot, not much is known about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Definitely something to look forward to. But let me tell you about Soul, my friends, and why this is something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I feel like Pixar is on a roll with original films lately. And I feel like kind of like the guy leading the charge on that, on these big, bold new ideas that not only just kind of like fuel the imagination, but just pull at your heartstrings in really profound ways is Pete Docter, man. Pete Docter, to me, is kind of like the guy at Pixar right now. Between, I feel like his trifecta, between Up, Inside Out, and Monsters, Inc., I mean, man, that is almost like a trilogy unto itself of just powerful, profound storytelling mixed with utterly fantastic world building and imagination. And Soul honestly looks to be the most ambitious Pete Docter movie yet. It's basically the meaning of life, the Pixar movie. And I really don't think I need to sell it any more than that. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to sort of expand on some of the ideas that Pete Docter was playing around with in Inside Out. I think just by the very nature of the story, it's going to be very emotional. And I think it's going to be the Disney movie of the year.
Okay.
All right. Onward is a rare case for Pixar. They've never really done like a full-on fantasy before, and it's a fantasy eschewment as well. Like, it's someone like an urban fantasy world, something that's not been seen before. It's like, and it features something, and also something magic, which they've only done once in Brave. And basically, it's about these two brothers who go on a quest to bring back their father for one more day. Basically, that itself, that's just a simple fact, just a simple road trip between two brothers trying to find their father, bring back their father for a single day. Just like, and it feels like a very close, intimate, fun, and funny, and epic, an all-around epic adventure. Like, Pixar, it's something that can be both familiar, but also unfamiliar and exciting at the same time. It's unfamiliar territory. Basically, it's something that also something we've never really seen before anywhere. I would really, and one of the things that really got me looking forward to it is also some of the backstory involved. Like, what really got me going was like the director's inspiration for the story was a voice message from his own father that he never met himself. And that inspired him to do this movie. Ever since then, this has been one of my movies I've been most looking forward to. So there's many reasons to think that this could be Pixar's next big thing.
Okay, now guys, before we fight it out as we tend to do here, I'd like to take a moment to check our stockings from the last round. Oh boy, let me see. Okay, let me check the stockings here. Let me see if there's a coin hidden there. Not in this one, but in this one, nothing. Sorry, folks. All right. Stab him with a sharpened candy cane right in the heart. Okay.
Okay, Onward, just, I don't know, man. Onward does not, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. And conceptually, Jacob, you're on point with how the movie got made, for sure. I've got a couple problems with Onward that make me nervous. And I'm not even just saying this just to win the debate. I'm just kind of like voicing my concerns for Onward, honestly. One of my big concerns is that I feel like it's going to be repeating the formula that we saw with Brave, where it's like, oh no, like the character wants to do a spell to make someone, do a spell, but oh no, the spell had a wacky side effect and it's going to lead to emotional bonding and growth. I'm not saying that obviously, I think we can all agree it's going to be pulled off better in Onward than it was in Brave. At least I would hope so. But I'm just saying it feels very similar to Brave. It's treading the same sort of plot territory as Brave.
Says the person who chose Inside Out Part 2.
Yeah, we'll get there. But I feel like another reason why I'm not overly stoked about Onward is I feel like maybe they're I don't know. To me, I don't want to poo-poo it just based on this alone, but Bright exists. I mean,
right?
The Will Smith movie from last year where he's living in a suburban fantasy world and he's a cop.
And that's detrimental to this. How?
Because the premise really reminds me of it.
Yeah, but it's two completely different things, so it's kind of irrelevant.
All right, well, you mentioned Inside Out Part 2, and how is that a bad thing? I would much rather have an Inside Out Part 2 than a Brave Part 2. Inside Out is one of the best Pixar movies there's ever been. And honestly, if we can explore more of that kind of like fundamental, like what makes us human, what makes us tick, go deeper, like Inside Out was about the emotions and the brain. Soul is about, well, the soul. It's about the meaning of life. It's about existence. It's about morality. It's about life and death. And that to me it's not just an Inside Out clone. It's expanding on Inside Out. Yeah, it's kind of got its roots in Inside Out. Soul would not be a thing if it weren't for Inside Out. But it's just like like it's taking all these things from Inside Out and it's just plussing them. It's just Inside Out on steroids, and that's why I'm so excited. Onward, by all intents and purposes, looks to be a fun little road movie with definitely some emotion attached to it. And I am looking forward to Onward, but I have a lot more hesitations about Onward than I do about Soul. I think Soul is almost a surefire home run.
The thing with Soul is, I mean, it's just basically treading familiar territory that Inside Out would have done. It's like we don't necessarily know that it would be expanded or anything. Like it's just, I mean, just look at it. It's just like this guy who just turns into a metaphysical version of himself and discovers the meaning of life. Basically,
which, I mean, that already is different from Inside Out, because in Inside Out, we don't have Riley turning into a metaphysical version of herself and going through an adventure with the emotions, right?
And Onward is nothing like Bright or Brave. It's like it's basically that point falls apart.
Well, I don't necessarily think it falls apart, but I'm saying, like, if you're, I don't know, I just think if you're knocking Soul for the Inside Out thing, I mean, it's like I honestly think the Inside Out thing is kind of the reason to be excited about Soul, more so because I really don't think it's a clone of Inside Out at all. As I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but I think it's taking the Inside Out ideas and just going nuts with them.
And honestly, from what I've seen, it just seems like it's like, what if these things had feelings kind of thing. It's just like, it's like basically just like meaning of life. Like, what if life had feelings? Basically, that's how people would sum up Soul. Like,
and you're not excited for that as a concept?
I mean, not as excited.
That doesn't sound incredibly deep and interesting.
As someone who has some strange familiar relations, I'm more looking forward to Onward as a concept, and fascination with road trips and brotherly bonds and stuff like that. I'm more excited for Onward and fantasy than I am Soul and looking into meaning of life.
All right, I'm just saying Pete Docter has a pedigree behind him, and there is just Dragon, can you give us the exact wording of this question again, please?
The exact wording is, what is the most promising Disney film of next year?
Promising is the key word there in that statement here, because Pete Docter has never made anything less than a masterpiece. Anything less than a masterpiece. There has not been a Pete Docter film that has not blown us away yet.
And if we're talking about promise, I mean, yes, the guy who directed this did direct Monsters University. This is his second film.
I didn't want to throw shade at Monsters University, Jacob.
I'm using that. Hold on, but I'm saying is like, I'm not saying this is like that was based on that was based on a pre-existing property. Like this actually shows promise for him as well. Like this is like him doing his own based on his own original idea. This is something that in itself is a way of showing promise and basically showing that he's capable of these high concept, high energy, and basically groundbreaking and heartbreaking adventures and stories in a well. So in a way, it's a revitalization for him. Like, and it's based on something that's near and dear to his own personal story. So in a way, it's promising in many different ways.
All right, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. There's definitely potential there. There's potential. If the question was what Disney movie has the most potential, then maybe you'd have a point. But I think promise and potential are two different things. Potential is it could be great, but it could be like slightly better than Monsters University. You know, it's like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade at Monsters University, and you do make a good point that Monsters University is, you know, it isn't an original story. This is, but we don't know. We don't know that he's going to turn in a Pete Docter level film, whereas Pete Docter is Pete Docter.
And there's no way. And there's no way.
In terms of promise,
And
we can pretty much be promised that Pete Docter is going to deliver.
And if you're talking about that, there's really no way to know that that Soul be any good either. I mean, like, basically, if he tries to expand beyond like the Inside Out was perfection. Basically, like there's a lot to live up to there. I mean, that's what makes me nervous about Soul. It's like if he's trying to recapture Inside Out, he could potentially fail.
But like I keep saying, and I don't want to dredge up the same points, but I feel like he's not so much recapturing Inside Out is Inside Out was kind of like a stepping stone to Soul. Whereas, I don't even think Soul is like necessarily a spiritual successor to Inside Out. It's just kind of like it's got a same sort of like exploration of the mind sort of thing going on, but it's playing entirely differently.
If we're talking about promising, or most promising and potential, even if they are different, I mean, I still think Onward has its fair share of things that could still make it the most promising film of next year. It's like, honestly, I think Onward has a potential to be basically. I know it's an old trope, but importance of family, brotherhood, basically just bonding in general. Soul, just like, sure, discovering yourself is one thing and helping others, but family is family. I mean, even the family can be bad at times and kind of toxic, maybe. Sometimes it's best to like find people who you are.
Hey Jacob, you know what Pixar movie was all about family and the value of family?
Okay, we're done.
I had a point, Dragon.
I've already heard enough. We're all good.
Let's let him finish. There's one little thing here. What was it, Tiki? The title.
Dragon, do you mind?
Go on.
He's just gonna give us the title here.
Okay, so essentially, I'm sorry. Now I'm all thrown off because this was going to be my final thought. So yeah, a movie that also focuses on family, The Good Dinosaur, a movie that was a second Pixar movie released up against a Pete Docter movie, The Good Dinosaur. I rest my case.
All right, Sandy.
Well, I really love movies like Soul. I'm gonna try not to let that. I'm gonna try and not be biased here, just because I loved Soul since the first teaser trailer I saw of it. But I think Tiki had a really great point, and I'm sorry, Jacob. I don't. It probably seems like I have it out for you because it's not the case. I think you guys had both great points. I think these are both really cool movies to look forward to. I think, Jacob, your point at the end, where your point about family, I think it's definitely valid, but I think that a larger audience is probably more interested in more personal movies that they can apply within their own kind of psyche, you know. From what I've seen, the movies of like Inside Out, for example, which came up several times during this conversation. But yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Tiki just because I think that Soul does have a much more promising future. I think it's very unique, despite being kind of the same realm of Inside Out. It's definitely not some kind of Of course, it's not a rip off, but it's not copycat in any type of way. I think it's very much its own thing, and I think it has a lot more potential and promise just for bringing Pixar to the next level than in a movie like Onward would. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you. Again, obviously, two movies I'm very much looking forward to, as you can probably imagine. Two very interesting movies, to say the least. I tell you, I feel Jacob's defense was really strong in this argument. I feel he was really for the majority of the argument. I think he was really on the ball. He's really kind of defending his points and so on and so forth. Tiki, again, I felt he kept. I think he leaned a little too heavy on the Inside Out well. Now, bear in mind, Jacob did prompt this with the whole Inside Out Part 2 of it all. That did kind of get things going for sure, but so obviously Inside Out was going to the whole basically, I think you guys did boil it down to a lot of Inside Out Part 2 versus Brave Part 2. I think it was the majority of the argument there, but I really like that Jacob was sticking up for Dan Scanlon, the promise of that. Tiki really dug in with the whole promise versus basically promising versus potential. That whole side of things. There's a history repeating itself argument brought up. There were some interesting points. I got to tell you, though, towards the end of things, I think Jacob was a little on his haunches, and I think I kind of registered. And Tiki did make an excellent point that really jumped out at me. The whole you'd have Riley involved in the adventure with, in the case of this go around, where you have our main character is kind of in kind of the metaphysical realm, if you will. So I gotta tell you, I think Tiki kind of he kind of sensed the weakness on Jacob, kind of getting on his haunches towards the end. I think he went in for the kill, so I'm gonna give the point to Tiki.
All right. Thank you, and also once again, Jacob, well fought.
Yep, well fought.
All right, but Dragon, should we check
Monkey.
our stalkings?
Yeah, Monkey had a pretty good piece of input here. He said if they do some sort of culinary tie-ins at the Parks for Soul, would it be soul food? Silence of a glaring audience. I'd love that. I'd actually love that.
Right. D. Henley made an interesting point where he said, June release for Soul versus Onwards, March release suggests Pixar has more confidence in Soul. That is kind of an interesting way of looking at it.
I kind of wish I would have. I mean, I know I already won, but I wish that is also a very solid argument. Yeah.
Interesting.
Or Onward was further along.
All right. Well, I mean, that's also another way of looking at it as well. But that is true. It is further. Anyway. Okay. All right, guys. We've reached the end of 3 rounds. So,
well, let's check the stocking.
You want to check it now? Don't you want to keep the anticipation going?
Do you want to check the stocking after the initial coin? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, gentlemen. Let's go to the coin. All right. Okay. Who's feeling risky tonight, guys? Who's feeling they want to live on the edge? Who wants to find out if they're on the nice list in the eyes of the almighty coin?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
Aha.
All right. Tiki's got heads, which means Tiki gets a point. The coin turned out to be chocolate for Tiki, where it could have been fudge. All right, Jacob, you feeling lucky, do you?
I'll flip it.
All right, Jacob's flipping it. He's flipping his lid, folks.
You're feeling lucky, punk.
Hey!
All right, all that exercise did was essentially ensure that this ends faster. Well done.
All right, now
3
let's...
versus 2 now.
And let's check the old stocking. Let's see. Let's check Sandy's stocking here. And just sand. Sorry.
That's all I asked for, so I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, wait a minute. There's something under the tree. Let me open
Were
it.
they claws?
Oh, okay, hold a second. I probably saw a few crabs in that stocking. A few claws. Anyway, sorry. Back to under the tree. Here, okay, let me unbox it here. Okay, I'm digging through the little fancy paper and up. Little box. Let me open this little box.
Oh, God.
And, man, it's a coin. We already had a coin. So, yeah, okay, so let's see. So, Tiki won that round.
Wow.
Tiki, do you want to flip for it again, or do you want to
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
All right, let's see. Tiki's going to flip.
Tiki, check monkeys come my house.
Tails. All right.
Oh, fudge. Tiki.
So now we're 2-2. We're tied up now.
Tied up for sure. Okay.
If you would have gotten 4, that means you would have just gotten one question and you would have won.
Right. All right.
All right.
So Sandy Monkey says Sandy's stocking was for Anakin.
Oh, you know, it's so coarse.
Does it get everywhere?
Yeah, it gets everywhere. Look, it's on the floor, man. It's on my shoes. Why is it on my shoe? Anyway, sorry, let's get back to it.
All right. Speed round.
All right, on to the speed round. Now we enter the almighty speed round, which breaks down to 30 seconds. To a 30-second statement followed by a 15-second rebuttal going back and forth between our two guys. First person who speaks goes first. You know, pretty standard stuff. It's kind of a race to the 5th point, if you will.
And someone else is going to have to watch the comments now because I'm going to be running the stopwatch.
I got it.
Okay.
And remember, folks, your vote we might fully turn it over to you guys to pick the winner if you're listening. Hopefully you are. That could affect the outcome. All right. Of course, going to have a few seasonal ones in here. Basically, everything is definitely going to be timely to events that have unfolded recently. If not within the year, then definitely within the month, if not within the season. Okay. So let's start off with something fun. Okay, guys. Pitch me a holiday topic for an episode of The World According to Jeff Goldblum. What should the next holiday? If they did a holiday themed episode like next week, what should it be? Which they're not, but we live in a world of what ifs.
Possibilities. Oh man.
This is Tiki
Christmas
doing
lights. Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. Tiki's got Christmas lights.
So can it be like any holiday?
Any holiday. Well, as long as it's kind of in the month of December. But yeah, any holiday. Like not Easter, but
Okay. Ornaments.
Okay, ornaments.
I was gonna say Halloween, but then you said no holiday.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah, hence the whole the whole theme. But okay.
Wait. You said holiday.
I did, but assumedly, the kind of the wintry holiday variety, anyway.
All right, I was just making sure. Go on.
Okay, Tiki, whenever you're ready.
All right. There's something incredibly competitive about Christmas lights at the core of Christmas lights that I find fascinating. Just like everyone on the block is either trying to one-up each other or it's blocks, like joining together to try to one-up other blocks. And I think Goldblum could get to that heart of the competition in a really interesting way. Not only that, but he can explore new technologies with lights. He can explore the history of Christmas lights. It'd be a good time.
All right, Jacob, whenever you're ready.
Ornaments have always been something that fascinates me. I mean, like they're these just like little baubles that you hang on the tree. Like they're either for fun or they have an emotional attachment to them. Like, and there are competitions and other things for that. Like pretty much they're trees that pretty much they're things that pretty much like tell people what you want, what they are and what they like. Like Jeff could could explore like some of these people who like go over the top with these Christmas decorations, experts, and like discover like the meaning and history behind all kinds of these things.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff could basically, if you want to talk about over the top, Jeff could basically explore like a real life Christmas with a crank situation, which I'm sure happens all the time across America throughout the holidays. And like I said, just technology, artistry, obsession. These are all things that play when it comes to Christmas lights.
Jeff's all about like a lot of us like talk about like the intimacy and importance of these things, like reaching cultural touchstones, and like the history behind them, like the meaning. I think ornaments would really touch that better than like a bunch of people putting up a bunch of flashing lights. Ornaments like speak to people on a fundamental level.
Sandy.
I honestly I like Jacobs a lot. I think he had a really strong little point there. This is coming from a person who does have a lot of, I guess, sentimental attachment to certain ornaments. So I can completely understand that. I think there's a lot of space to explore there, especially if it's Jeff Goldblum. I mean, he can just do anything he wants. So I like Jacobs.
All right, point goes Jacob.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Monkey says, if Lights wins, the episode could be Bloom watching the Broderick DeVito movie Deck the Halls.
He also suggested Cole.
Oh, God.
That could be a railroad tie-in for Disney. Could we can meet the conductor? We keep that Mark Johnson. Get the other Mark. I gotta forget what his name is. You know, that guy, the train guy. Right,
John Henry?
No, not that. Anyway.
John Henry.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Moving on. All right. Which, of course, folks, we know, this week is not only, kind of like a week away from the big Christmas season, but also we had a little indie movie coming out called Star Wars. The Rise of Skywalker. A little indie movie. It's not going to do that well. I'm sure it'll be lucky to. It'll basically clear like Clint Eastwood numbers these days. I'm sure. So. In light of this, which Star Wars character would make the best Scrooge, given our operative theme of
Watto.
Right, Tiki says Watto.
Darth Vader.
Jacob's got Vader.
Really? These are both pretty creative here. Are you sure, guys?
Humbug.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Watto is Scrooge, man. Watto is such a dick, and I want to see him go through a redemption arc. Watto has always kind of like fascinated me with just how weird of a character is, his design, and the fact that he's the slave trader, and he is just so greedy. He fits the Scrooge archetype to a T. I think outside of the redemptive stuff, he's the most Scrooge-like character in the entire Star Wars canon, so all you need is a good redemptive story for him.
The problem with Watto is like you don't know much about his past or anything. Like Scrooge is a character who's defined by his past. Like his past ruined him, turned him into the very man he is, and it's his introspection on that is what causes him to have his change of heart. Darth Vader is he's very similar. Someone whose past haunted him, and then he went through a redemptive arc. Like I think if anything, Watto is more like one of the Crowleys or one of his people who trained him or something.
I think if you're doing Christmas Carol with Anakin, you're basically just going through a greatest hits of like the stuff that led up to Darth Vader. But Watto, a Christmas story with Watto could really be anything. You could make up the backstory for Watto, and that's the expanded like Mandalorian type lore I want to see.
The question is here, who would be the best Scrooge? And well, basically Watto's like, yes, I have money. I have money. Basically, but Darth Vader has reasons established that he could actually fit the archetype.
Sandy.
So this whole question is who is or who would make a better Scrooge?
Who would make the best Scrooge?
Okay. Well, I mean, Vader technically was Scrooge. I mean, he was a grumpy old dictator who had control over all these people, just like Scrooge. And he had a redeeming arc, just like Scrooge. So I guess, I mean, I'm kind of stumped here because I guess Vader already fit that role nicely. It'd be interesting to see Watto go through something similar like that. So, I don't know. I guess Watto, since we haven't seen anything, or we haven't really had a whole lot of.
Wait.
What? We're gonna say something?
Oh no, not right
Okay.
now.
Well, we just haven't. I think it just be his character's pretty interesting, and I think it'd be interesting to see something like that with him. Sure.
Well, two excellent choices, but I'm going to turn it over to the audience on this one. And the audience, mainly Monkey, there he says he's leaning towards the archetypal reasoning that Jacob laid out, which means, on goes Jacob.
Yeah, technically, I just realized that technically Luke Skywalker through Last Jedi also would have been a good choice.
Oh, he would have. Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, it's a solid. But seriously, Teak, I was kind of personally leaning towards Watto. I gotta be honest. Watto was a really good call, but again,
would have been fun, man. It would have been fun.
Basically, your opening argument with Watto was phenomenal, but Jacob did kind of have you with the whole the Vader. Vader literally is the definition of Scrooge with the past and everything. So it's kind of
Like I said, for a moment, I even didn't remember who Watto was.
Oh god.
And basically, the rest of we're getting some casting in the comments here. Claude Coringus, Baby Yoda as Tiny Tim, and which is great. Basically, if you're going for like a Mickey's Christmas Carol approach or like a Muppet Christmas Carol, let's just cast him in the roles there. By all means, Baby Yoda's Tiny Tim, sure.
And Hondo could be Ghost of Christmas Past just for the before joke.
Oh my god, yes.
I see you've been to you've been to this duel before.
All right, so again, right now it's 4-2. Jacob's got 4. Tiki's got 2.
So I need to win 3 in a row. Basically, I need to go on a streak.
Jacob gets the next point. He wins.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right, I want to make sure I get this one in here because it's going to be really irrelevant if we do it next month. So I'm going to try to get it now while I can. All right. In light of both the anniversaries for these two things in this year of 2019, one is for the 20th and the 10th anniversaries, respectively. What is the better Pixar film, Toy Story 2 or Up?
Toy Story 2.
Up.
Okay.
Great. So, okay, hold on. I'm literally like repositioning myself in the chair because I feel strongly about this one. The first 10 minutes of Up, phenomenal. The last roughly hour and a half of Up, good with some great parts to it. Toy Story 2 is just kick-ass just all the way around, top to bottom. That movie, especially after revisiting it recently, that movie just top to bottom is one of the most consistent, emotional, yet entertaining and funny, adventurous. I mean, the characters just all pop. You can't say the same thing about Up.
Technically, you can say the same thing about Up, and it does with a lot less characters involved too. Basically, yes. The first 10 minutes are phenomenal, and as are the remaining film. But basically, with like two of the most well-rounded characters in Pixar history, a genuinely threatening villain for the heroes, overall emotional, satisfying story through and through, Up ranks among Pixar's classics and as its best.
Two of the most satisfying dynamic duos in Pixar's history. Are you talking about Woody Buzz, Woody Jesse? I mean, there's a lot of dynamic duos here. Dynamic villains. You've got the Big Al, and you've got Stinky Pete. I mean, Toy Story 2 delivers.
You have a very good dynamic trio, however, with Doug, Carl, and Russell, and like I said, a genuinely terrifying villain with a genuine reason for doing what he does in Charles Muntz. Like the story reaches a very extremely satisfying conclusion for everyone involved in the story.
Sanders.
Well, Tiki made some great points in there, and so did Jacob. I just have to say Toy Story 2 is the better movie. It's got two really solid villains. It's a terrific follow-up to an already very, very good movie. It completely takes everything to a completely new level. It takes the characters and brings them out into the real world, into a different scale of what we got in the first film. And it just completely takes everything and just blows it out of the water. And it does it all in the best way. And while Up is a really terrific masterpiece of cinema, and it works really well as a standalone film, it doesn't quite live up to the same standards that Toy Story 2 set. So, Toy Story 2.
I'm going to defer to Sandy on this one, which means Tiki gets the point.
All right.
Thank God. Oh my God, guys. I stumbled on the okay, now Al, is it just Al?
It's Al, yeah.
Al McWiggin, but Al, yeah.
So he doesn't have like a big Al or anything like that.
There's
It's
no
just
Big Al. As Monkey has pointed out here, Big Al. I didn't know.
I almost called him
was
fucking Weird Al, and I stumbled in my closing statement. And if I would have fucking lost this debate because I almost called Al Weird Al, I would never forgive myself.
Well,
for that.
just forget
That would
forget
haunt my dreams.
Forget
Thank
Big Al,
you,
forget
Sandy.
Weird Al. Just call him the Chicken Man. That's what they call him in the movie.
the Chicken Man.
Thank you, Sandy. Oh my God, I am so relieved that I didn't lose that. You have no idea. Anyways,
All right, okay.
I didn't even notice he called him Big Al.
Oh, I know. They plainly called him Big Al.
Well, he is
Yeah.
big, so I mean,
Well, not
it's
really.
wrong.
Remember, he's really short. That's the thing. He's just
But he-
by comparison.
He's the Wayne Knight of Pixar.
Well, he's literally Wayne Knight.
Yeah, exactly.
He is
Exactly.
Wayne Knight of
Ex-
Pixar.
Exactly.
He is Wayne Knight.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I miss Wayne Knight.
Well, he's still around. He
I know.
was the Penguin recently. He's really good too.
We don't see as much of him as he did back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways.
Okay. Hey, moving
There's
on.
also Tantor too.
Well, in Tarzan, but then they have Jim come.
Alan,
But yes.
we've got Alan here.
All right. Okay.
No, it's Dodgson.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, my God. I'm mixing up my Jurassic Park jokes.
Now who should lay off the eggnog?
Hello, Newman.
I was literally like putting the Dotson joke and the Allen joke in a blender.
Oh, guys, we'll
with
save
that.
the airing of grievances for the traditional Festivus ceremony to the side. We'll do that after this. Meanwhile, getting back to the question at hand.
For patrons
What we
only.
got next?
Which MCU character would make the best Santa?
Oh God.
Whoa.
Have we not done this before?
Pretty sure we haven't.
Okay.
Hmm.
Rocket Raccoon.
What? Okay.
He's got Rocket.
I mean, Captain America.
He's got Cap.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay.
Let's see if they can pull it off, folks.
Rocket Raccoon in a Santa costume would just be the most adorable thing ever. And just the mere sight of it would make children and adults alike melt. Not only that, but Rocket has got that great kind of like curmudgeon with a heart of gold personality that would make him a great mall Santa, where he'd be like taking a lot of kids, but still having good interactions with him. Cap, I think, would almost be too milquetoast as Santa. Cap would almost be boring as Santa. You know what you get with Cap.
You know what you get with Rocket? You get someone toting around a giant weapon and clawing at people's faces. Like, do you think you really think you'd put him in a Santa outfit? No, he'd scratch you up and shoot you down before you even get the chance. Like, Santa is all about it. Santa's all about his traditional family values, basically helping others. Basically, Captain America would make me think is the perfect archetype for Santa. Heck, he even once had a beard to prove it.
God.
Santa, maybe, I think he'd be the ideal choice.
All right, kind of formally thoughts here. Okay, got 2 points I need to make. Dragon, do a plug of some kind. I need to formulate some thoughts here.
Okay, well, folks, make sure you check out Seasonal Shenanigans, our the hot new holiday series that's 6 years and counting. That's sweeping the nation. I mean, folks, this year we're doing something a little special. We did 6 episodes for Christmas in July, 6 years Seasonal Shenanigans. You take one, you take the other, you put them together, you get 12 days of Christmas. Am I right? Oh, it's going to be so lovely.
All right, I'm good. Okay. So keep in mind, this is post-Endgame Rocket, so it's not like he's going to be feral and towing around guns. This Rocket has a heart of gold. This Rocket has been through a lot. With Cap, it's like, if Noel taught us anything, it's that we can have unconventional Santas, and Rocket would be the definition of that.
Captain America's been through war, time, and space. So he's definitely seen some things too, I think. And even going back in time to the 40s, I think he'd still make an excellent Santa. It's like he's grown, seen some things. I think he himself would be unconventional as well.
Sandy?
I gotta say, Rocket Raccoon sounds pretty badass as Santa. I was kind of leaning towards Cap in the beginning, but Tiki made a pretty good point. You kind of know what you're going to get with Cap. It's kind of just bread and water. There's not too much going on. Sure, he might make a really good kind of stereotype Santa, but I think Rocket Raccoon definitely adds a bit of spice that the people would really, really love. The Rocket.
All right. I'm going to go with the consensus I'm getting here from from not only Sandy but also some of our comments here. First of all, D. Hindley had an excellent suggestion of Doctor Strange.
Yes, I really like this one. I'm going to pull it up. Doctor Strange would be the best Santa. Time Stone and portals would help deliver presents, which he could conjure up easily. Rocket would steal gifts. Yeah, fair point.
So, of course, obviously, these are two really solid picks for Santa Claus, most assuredly.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Right. D. Hindley also goes on to say, Cap is a good choice. He lived at the North Pole for several decades. Funny. Very funny. Let's see. So anyway, folks, of course, the odd thing if Doctor Strange were Santa Claus would be kind of ironic, given in some form or another he was pretending to be Santa Claus in a certain family movie that was released last year.
Oh God.
Okay, but seriously, consensus-wise, it brings a tear to my eye. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it the Rocket. Seriously, Rocket does. I really love the points made for Rocket Raccoon. Rocket, as kind of Monkey goes on to say here, Cap makes more sense as Santa, that he does, but Rocket would be more fun to watch. So.
And I also love Monkey saying, Rocket, he says, I can totally see Rocket saying, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid."
That's the thing. There's a lot of basically. I think the comments won that one for Tiki. So let's
all right, 4-4, man.
Next point wins.
Sandy, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Good. Okay, now, all right. You know what? I should do this one next because it's definitely be a little late to the party if I didn't do this one now. We're gonna go with another holiday one, but you know what? For goodness sake, I'm gonna do this one, right?
Oh God. Okay.
Okay. This one, it's technically within the Disney of it all. Very technically, it slides in every. Even if it doesn't, we should ask this one.
Okay.
Who's the better character, Big Bird or Oscar the Grouch? In honor of the great
Oscar the Grouch.
Yes. Okay. Tiga's got Oscar.
Big Bird.
Jake's got Big Bird.
Man. Do we have to do this?
I mean, technically, it's owned by Warner Brothers.
I don't like this, Dragon.
And honestly, I'm not.
I don't want to talk ill about. I don't want to do this.
And honestly, I'm not too familiar with with Sesame Street.
Dragon.
Yeah, maybe we should change it up.
Let's
Oh,
not talk shit about like Carol's. Let's not pit Carol Spidey's
Well,
creations
you
against
know,
each
here's
other.
an idea. You can talk about the good qualities. There's always that option.
I don't.
Fine, fine.
I mean, technically, it isn't really Disney at all.
This is what I get for trying to be sentimental. All right.
It's a nice sentiment.
You know what
Dragon.
that just fishes. You way to put some coal in my stocking. Thanks. All right.
You can
All
still
right.
do a Muppet-related question, though.
Can I make a suggestion?
No, you can't make a suggestion.
Okay, fine.
All right.
I'm gonna say we could go with one of our viewer questions, but
All right. We'll go with the view. I thought you were going to literally suggest a round question.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Sandy,
no,
you
I'm saying Claude Coringa threw out basically like an opposite of what we just argued, which is which Disney character would make the best Grinch.
Isn't that kind of the same thing as Scrooge? The Scrooge
Oh,
question?
yeah.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Okay. Any other questions from Claude here?
Well, yes, he does have. He has another question right about. Here we go. Pick an actor or actress you would like to hear voice Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus in DuckTales.
Okay, that'll work. You good with that, Jacob?
Actually, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I am going to go with Kristen Shaw is Mrs. Claus.
Wait, is it Mrs. Claus or Santa Claus?
It could be either.
Either.
This is an interesting one. Anyone. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. This is a interesting question. Nick Offerman.
Is Santa? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Be an
All right.
offer, man.
This could make or break me, so I'm gonna have to give it my all here.
Yeah. Down to the last lap, gentlemen.
All right. So we revisited Year Without a Santa Claus recently, and I really love Mrs. Claus' role in that. And we need more good Mrs. Claus, man. And Kristen Shaw, my dream role for Kristen Shaw in DuckTales is Goslin. But you know what? If we can't get her as Goslin, let's get her as Mrs. Claus. Let's get an eccentric, youthful, energetic, and quirky Mrs. Claus, man. And let's make her like the main focus of a DuckTales Christmas episode. I think that would just breathe new life into the Mrs. Claus character.
Basically, throughout the kind of roles that Nick Offerman has stood, he's like sort of like this classic, like he's shown he can like do like the classic deadpan or like just like Ron Swanson kind of like characters, but he's definitely shown that he can have like different kind of ranges. Like he was even one of the agents in Gravity Falls too. It's like he would definitely be so in many different ways. He could definitely be an interesting addition to the cast as bring a different take on Santa Claus, especially one for here as we've previously mentioned throughout the series. One that rubbed Scrooge McDuck the wrong way and one he considers his enemies.
All right, here's the thing: is that I feel like it's almost like Santa has so many cliches that it's almost a cliche to do a different take on Santa, which this sounds like it is. And with Mrs. Claus, it's just Mrs. Claus is a blank slate, and Kristen Shaw would knock it out of the park.
Oh, Kristen Shaw is a bizarre, quirky character. Where have we seen that before? Like, oh yeah, every role she's ever done.
Huh.
Nick Offerman would at least bring a new take to Santa Claus. Like I said, this Santa Claus has been known to be one of Scrooge's enemies, or at least someone he deeply despised. He knows what he did. Nick Offerman would nail that part flawlessly.
Sandy. What do you think?
I think, gee, this is good because these guys had some great points here. That's really good points.
Claude Coringa likes both choices too. You've appeased Claude Coringa. We're all good there.
Well, that's all that matters.
It is all that matters, actually. Yes.
D. Hindley says he was thinking the same thing as me.
Yep.
I don't know. I like Nick Offerman as Santa. I mean, I know it's a cliche to have different Santas or whatnot, but I just think it's a really funny idea. I don't think anyone's done that yet, have they? And Nick Offerman Santa Claus. That's
unless he's technically put on the suit in Parks and Rec. I don't think we've ever seen that. No.
Well, I think that's.
Can we just speak of the power of Ron Swanson as a character that I've never really even watched Parks and Rec that much, but I know exactly what he's like.
Right.
I think that's some unclaimed land there, some valuable land that
Tiki image.
To be plucked.
Oh, yeah, right.
Needs to be plucked up quickly. So I think Nick Offerman is Santa Claus. I like what's her name? I forget. Kristen
Shaw.
Kristen Shaw. Yeah. I think it's an interesting idea for Mrs. Claus, but I'm kind of having trouble figuring out how Santa Claus would be married to some youthful, energetic woman. I don't know. There's kind of an age gap there that kind of leaves me in question.
Well, youthful probably. I think I'm not trying to contribute to his point or anything, but youthful probably in terms of energy, not necessarily appearance.
That is what I meant. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Nick Offerman on this one. I'm sorry, Tiki.
First of all, I want to say I think Claude Coringa had an even better idea for Santa Claus.
Stephen Root.
Yes, Stephen Root.
Yeah, that's a really good. That's really solid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Considering he's actually the mayor in Amphibia now.
Yep.
Right.
Really, Diane.
He also said Christopher Walken for Rick and Morty Santa Claus.
Ooh, that I could actually see that.
What was the one that? Oh, it was Billy and Mandy that did Gilbert Gottfried as Santa Claus.
Yes, a classic.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, all right. Look, I'm gonna side with Offerman on this one. I'm gonna give the point to Jacob, which means Jacob is a winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Good fight,
All
Tiki.
right.
Good fight.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob.
Hands earned. Let's cut him a piece of the roast beef. All right.
Okay. My God, Dragon. We've had a lot of good action in the comments. Let's see. D. Hindley, Monkey, Claude Coringa. Pink Pearl was here in the beginning. Anyone else I'm missing here?
So again, Monkey, Pink Pearl, Claude Coringa, D. Hindley, and that's the whole ball game there. Yeah.
All right, Dragon, take us out.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us this fine holiday season. We'll see you again next time, and drive safely, would you? It's the holidays. It can be icy out there, depending on where you're located. All right. Bye-bye.
She's bleeding.